All right. I think we can start rolling, Damien. What do you think?
Absolutely.
All right. So, welcome everyone to the Process Mining Academy session for today. Just a shout out that we have knowledge coming up, and some of our team members would be there to tackle your process mining related questions. So, if you get a chance, do register and make use of the opportunity. Moving on to why we are here. So today's topic of the day is process mining the survey results. And no worries if you don't know what it is, and because we'll be covering some basic slides on process mining and also surveys. So do stick around, nothing to worry about, and it's not intimidating in any way. So, if you are here for the first time, this series of webinars are typically once a month, and we encourage people who are process mining users or are interested in learning about ServiceNow process mining attend this session. And we typically take on use cases and show them how to implement it, or take on your Q&A related inquiries on process mining. So, if you are interested, make sure that you show up every month on a Thursday nowadays, and make sure you register. What will be presented today is completely recorded, so you don't have to worry about taking notes or slides. It would be shared publicly. And for Q&A, there are two options. If you see there's a chat button, but if you put your questions in the chat, it will not be saved as a history. So we highly recommend that instead you go to the Q&A text box and post your questions there instead. All right. Before we move forwards, just a quick safe harbor notice that whatever I say today is something that's based on iterative releases. So do not make any purchasing decisions based on what I say here would be a feature in ServiceNow. Make sure you rely on our official documents to make any such decisions. Just a quick rundown on our team. This is just the outbound team. We have our VP Eduardo and Dan Grady in in AMS East, and myself in EMEA based in the UK. And of course, Damien's joining me today, and he manages AMS West. We also have a very strong inbound team that rolls out a lot of features and supports us. So a shout out for all the good work they do as well. Damien, do you want to say hello?
Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks everyone for joining. Love the interactions, love the attendance, and glad to see a lot of the regular folks who have joined these sessions. Love your input and love your questions. Please do ask away. We really appreciate them.
Thanks, Damien. So the agenda for today is we'll cover a little bit about process mining because some of you may be attending this for the first time. So it's good to cover the base. Then we jump into mining survey results. And if you don't know what survey results are, we'll touch on the basics of survey results first. And then we'd go on into a demonstration of how to actually mine survey results. And then we'll open it up for questions, and we'll point you to self-learning resources for process mining. So just a bit of one-on-one, like I said, for people who haven't attended the sessions before. So what is really process mining? So if you look at the picture there, if you have a Visio diagram or a process map, you box by box look at each activity in your process. Now, as opposed to that, what process mining does is, because the reality of your processes do not go as per the design in any case, because the records go on hold, they're suspended, they hop from different assignment groups to and fro. So that's why we rely more on the audit log, which is like a camera that captures every single update made to your records. And based on that audit log, what process mining does is creates a visual process map so that you can identify areas of improvement. Now, most often people tell me, oh, it's just this process map that you guys have in your product suite. And I'm like, no, process map is just one feature that we have, which shows the traffic and flow of records from one state to another or one assignment group to another and much more. But other than that, we have plenty capabilities. So today I'm going to go a bit kind of under the hood and show you the top 10 capabilities of the product, just so you know what's out there, not for you to fully understand these features, but at least to have some glimpse of what the product has in it. So here you go. The top capability is, of course, this beautiful looking process map, which is generated in less than 10 minutes. And if you see, it shows you on an average, 8,000 records went from new to assigned in 11 hours. Great. And then it went to in progress in 19 hours. But then if you come upon a waiting caller and you're wondering, oh, why is that happening? Why are my records going to a waiting caller? Then from just that node or arc, you can go deeper and you can have these histograms showing you a view of your records. This investigate button there has tons of features wrapped up in it, one of which is the cluster analysis, where the short description of your records could be summarized in clusters so that the machine is trying to nudge you to say, is it because of this email SSO or these keywords that your tickets are going to a waiting caller? And under the investigate button, you also have a quick root cause analysis in just less than 5 minutes. You go in and you run it, and it kind of tells you that probably your tickets are going on hold because of this IT support group or because of so and so channel, like employee portal, for example. So it's able to do a bit of correlation analysis and show you a root cause in minutes. When I was in ops, it would take me ages to do a root cause analysis, but this is the power of machine learning here. And lastly, you can also do work notes analysis. So if you have tons of records and you don't want to go into each record to find out the process anomaly, what work notes would do is to summarize your work notes and give you, with the power of Now Assist, this kind of a summary to tell you that these are the possible reasons why your tickets are ping ponging or why they're going on a waiting caller or on hold and so on. Other than that, we have this very powerful feature which we call opportunities. So if you go on the summary and insights page, there's something called opportunities. So the way I define opportunities is pattern detection. So out of the box, ServiceNow gives you around 15 patterns or more for free that you can deploy in your data set. So these patterns are bad behaviors in your process. So, for example, ping pong or rework or long resolution time, and so on. So when you deploy these pre-patterns that ServiceNow gives you on your own data set, you're able to see that, my data has rework and it has inefficiency of 7 months because of this rework. So this is a robust feature in the product that sometimes is a bit under the hood, but I want to bring it forward for your attention, and it's very valuable in finding process improvements. In the previous pictures, you saw that I used the state field of an incident or a record to show you the flow. Here, I've used the assignment group as an activity. So you see how the tickets are flowing from one assignment group to another, where the tickets are ping-ponging or there is a multi-hop where it is changing hands too many times. So you could create a quick project like this in less than 10 minutes. And then moving on, if somebody wants to drill deeper, like, okay, how do I now filter my process map based on the channel that the tickets come in from, or the assignment group, or priority or category of my tickets, then you could use something called breakdown filters here, and you're able to filter the process map and analyze deeper. Bottleneck analysis is a very quick way to find out where your processes are being stuck, which nodes are the nodes that take the longest or they have repeat journeys, so that you could coach your teams or you could automate and make your processes better. And variation analysis is all about steps. So, coming from Lean Six Sigma background myself, process consistency is as important as process efficiency. So, if you'll see here, you have 10 steps, 9 steps. So, if I designed my process to be executed in just 5 steps, why is it taking more steps? And you can see here the reason is that the ticket's going too often between a waiting caller info and in progress back and forth. And that could be one of your reason for process anomaly, and you can improve on that from then on. Also, we have these robust advanced features where on one page you can compare any two filter sets. So you can have assignment group A and B compared side by side, or you could have before and after you make a process change, how impactful the process change was. And this metric here is what the senior management are most interested in, that how many routes went down when you improved your process, or how were you able to bring the average duration down after you improved your process. So very robust and strong feature that I highly recommend for using. And lastly, of course, if you have multiple child tables or related tables and you want to bring them all onto one page and see the relationships and how the tickets are flowing between them, then this is a recommended feature that you must use. All right. I am sure that I have made you excited to kind of put your hands on the product and see how it runs. And if you're wondering, oh, I wish I could run this on my data set, we've heard you. You can go into your instance. If you're on Xanadu, you can mine 3,600 records for free. You have to have this evaluation project. You can just search in your process mining workspace, and there is a ready-made sample project created for you. So you don't have to do nothing. Just go there, click on it, and see your process map and the bad patterns and improvement opportunities there. If you are pre-Xanadu, of course, you can do the same in subprod by cloning your data and such. But this is a very good option if you're interested in just getting a feel of the product to see how it runs. There's a blog post out there on the community site talking all about it. So make sure you read it and give it a go. And I'm sure you'd be very happy with what you see. And then you can talk to your accounts team on how you can get it running in your organization. All right, so that was all about process mining. And now I would be shifting gears to the topic of the day, which is how do I mine survey results? But before we go there, let's just cover the basics. What is really a survey? So, if, for example, I have a customer service case or I have an incident or request, these are termed as tasks. And when you have a customer or you have an end user that you've provided the service to, then you'd want to know from them, how did we do on the service? Are you happy with us? So that's the purpose of survey, and these are initiated from a task, which could be a case, HR case, or incident request, and then the survey goes to the customer. They answer your questions, and more importantly, there's always one question in the end, which says, are you satisfied with us, and how would you rate us on a scale of 1 to 5 or 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, and that's where the customer would say, okay, I'd rate you 7 or probably 2. And the that's the survey result that we're going to mine today and see how we can bring process mining on top of that survey result. So, like I said, task could be any task, and then the results of the survey are stored in a table called metrics result table. But you need to understand that not everything is stored in there. There are some tables that you need to dot walk to. So here on your right, you see the table structure. You have metrics results table where most of your data point are about the survey, but it may not have things like where is the survey initiated from, which task initiated this survey. So that's where you need to dot walk to something called assessment instance, in short instance, and you'd see that there is this task data point, which is basically the case ID or the request ID or incident ID from which the survey was initiated. So this is a very important tip you need to remember, because sometimes you might be wondering, where is the task ID? I don't see it on this table, but this is where it is. Now let's look at the metrics result table and what are the data points that are important for us to be able to do the process mining on it. So the first one is category. So category is basically the survey, the name of the survey that you're interested in. So here it is customer service satisfaction survey. It could be HR survey or something else. Okay, so it's just the name of the survey that you're interested in mining. The next is the metric. So once you look at the survey, then there are, say, 10 questions on it. Some questions are text ones, some are like multiple choice. You're not interested in that. You just want to know your rating, how good or bad the customer or the user rated you. So what you're interested in, the question is overall customer satisfaction. So do not copy blindly what I show you here. You need to go into your instance. First of all, find out which survey did you roll out, find out which question are you interested, which is like a rating scale question that you're interested in mining. So after you've sorted those two aspects, then you need to be very sure that which is the table from which the survey is initiated. In my case, you can see that it is all coming from the CSAT survey, which is for the case table. But in your case, some surveys might be triggered from a request table or incident table or any other custom table. So just be clear about that. And as I've said before, the task is not on the metrics result table. It is on another dot walk table, which is the instance table. Lastly, actual value. So actual value is the last column here, which is the rating, the answer that the end user or the customer provides on the survey. And on a rating scale of 1 to 5, I would say any score which is 3 or less is a bad survey result. If you really like me, you'd at least rate me 4 or 5, right? So this is how actual value gives you the rating that is provided by the customer on the survey. All right. So with the basics of survey covered and out of the way, we can now dive into what is the hypothesis for today that we are process mining for. If you mine blindly, then it's just going to show you something, not show you something. So it's important that you have a hypothesis in mind. So what most of our customers come to us and say, can we just mine to say that, to see if this is true, that customers or users who experience bad process behaviors like high resolution time on a ticket or ping pong or rework, they often rate us badly on the survey. And the opposite is true, meaning when we give them quicker resolution time and no ping ponging and good behaviors, they rate us highly. Is this hypothesis true or false? This is something that they want to test most often. So I'm going to try and show you how we did this for them, and probably you could replicate this, or you can probably have better ideas than me and do share with us on our blog community site. And the second hypothesis is that customers that rate us badly when bad process behavior lead to SLA breaches. So often a ticket breaches SLA and a long time passes even after the breach, and that's why customers are rating us badly. So, and then we compare the process behavior of a good survey result versus a bad survey result. So, a good survey result on a 5 point rating scale would be 4 or 5 rating by the customer, and on 10 point rating scale, probably 8 or 9 or 10. So this is where you need to be very careful that you don't blindly copy what I show you here. You need to understand the rating scales that were deployed by your organization, and then what should be the right criteria that you must select for mining. All right, so now from this point on, I'm just going to toggle between this slide deck and my instance to show you how to really do this bit. There are many ways to do this. So this is one of the ways in which you do it. If you have better ideas, like I said, share with us and it will help all of us. So first of all, I'm going to mine a bad survey. So for that, I need to first create a report with these filter conditions. So these filter conditions will be applicable to you if you have not customized your instance too much, but if you've relabeled your fields or if you've done a lot of other funky stuff, then you need to understand from your system admin what should be the correct filter criteria for you guys to match what I have done here. All right, so at this point, I'm just going to toggle my screen and go to something I have here for you, which is the running of report. So I go in under reports, view and run. I create a new report, name it whatever I like. In this case, it would be a case survey bad results. And then I pick up the metric results table, which is where all the survey results are stored, like I mentioned before. And then from then on, I would just choose that I'm not interested in any beautiful visualization, just the list view. And here I would go and filter. So the filter is precisely what I was showing you on the slide deck, that the instance task is not empty, which means that where the survey is triggered from, that field is not blank. That is very important. So I go to instance table, I dot walk, and I pick my task and say it's not empty. Then the second criteria for the filter set, I just put an and condition and toggle there and say metric category is the name of the survey. So I go to the metric table first, and then I dot walk to the category field, and I just say that the name of my survey is so and so. In my case, the name of the survey is customer service satisfaction survey. So that's what I'll type in here. Oops. Yeah. And then put an and condition again. And then the next filter criteria is the actual value is less than or is 3. So because I'm mining bad survey results, my rating should be lower than 3. In my case, for you, whatever is applicable for you, please make sure you choose the right value here. And then moving on to and condition again to see if we can add the remaining filters. Actual value is not empty. So if somebody's not answered that question on the survey, you don't want to bother to bring that data in. And metric is overall customer satisfaction. So if the survey name is so and so, but which question are you interested? So metric means that this is the question, which is overall satisfaction is what I'm interested in mining. So like you say, see here that one survey has multiple questions, and what you're interested in is just overall satisfaction, or in your case, look up your survey and find out which question has a rating scale, and you can pick up the right one. So, all right, so I think we are done with the filters. Now we could just run it. Yeah, all the filters are covered. Now I'm going to just adjust the columns to make sure I include task. So before that, I'll just run it to see if the data comes up or not. Yeah, it did. So I'm just going to now add one more column because I don't see the task table anywhere here, because as you know, it's not on the metric result table. So I just go here, I don't see it, but I know that it is under the instance table. So I'm just going to adjust my columns now by going to the instance table and picking it up from there. Yeah. So that's where task is. And move it to your right, and you'll see it on the report. So you just need to run first, and then you'll see it. All right, so now see, miraculously, all those case numbers have come up that I'm interested in, all the cases that I got the bad survey result on, and I'm only interested in mining those. So the whole purpose of creating this report is just that. And I just need to export all the cases with bad survey results. Could export in CSV or Excel is fine. It's easy to copy in CSV or Excel. I'll go for Excel, download it. And there you go. I open the downloaded copy, and all I do is just copy these IDs because I'm only interested in this. Rest of the report is not much of value to me. I'm just going to keep it copied. And then from here on, I just toggle into my process mining workspace and execute the remaining steps I have on my slide deck. So if you see here, I've exported the IDs. Then step number 5, I go to Process Mining Workspace, create a project, point it to the right table, and make sure the filter criteria has number is one of whatever IDs I just copied, and then I mine the project. So these are the steps I'll execute now, for which I need to go to the Process Mining Workspace and create a new project. Just name it. So I could point it to either the customer service table from where my survey was initiated, but I could really have anything else like incident table, or I could even go for HR core case, where most surveys also come out from HR core case tables. So just to show you that the product has the ability to point it to any table you want it to in that case, and but you need to bear in mind that this should be precisely the table that you initiated the survey from. So in my case, it's just the customer service case table, and I'll create a project. And then filter conditions, make sure that you filter only for those cases that have bad survey results. So I'm just going to say number is one off, and then paste the IDs that I pasted. Sorry, paste the IDs that I copied. Then I see that, okay, the results are fine. And then I'd want to just make sure that I have correct breakdowns and activities. So before I do activities, I just go to use case, and I want SLA breaches as well for my hypothesis testing. So I'll just toggle this button, and it is so easy to add the task SLA table as a child table here. And I can then do a better analysis with the task SLA table. Everything is pre-filled out for you, which is great. And activities, I think I'd go for the state of my case. You can pick any other activities like assignment group or whatever you're interested in looking at the transitions of. And of course, breakdowns. I would think in this case for customer service cases, the relevant breakdowns could be the channel, the contact type that the ticket came from, could be resolution code, service offering, whatever works for you, and hit the save button. So I think you're pretty much all set. You have activities, you have your task SLA all done. Move on to step number 3, where you'd add those free patterns we give you on your customer service table, and add the automated patterns as well. And then step number 4, you would just go ahead and mine the table. Full mine is better. So at this point now, I think what I'll do is I'm going to take you back to my slide deck. Um, so we have executed all these steps. The mining is going on. Now, what you need to do is you need to do this similar exercise for good survey result so that you have the comparison between good and bad. So exact same steps that I did for bad survey, repeat them, except that where I have this condition, actual value less than or equal to 3, you'd make it opposite. You'd say, okay, for good survey result, actual value is greater than 3. And now, because I don't have good data to show you, I will show you some bits on HR case table. But what the analysis shows is the conclusion is that when you mine the cases that have bad survey results, they show much higher average duration, time to close. They show much higher process inconsistency because the standard deviation is high. Median duration is much higher for bad survey results. Also, wherever the SLA breaches are, you see that the durations after breaches are quite high. And on the summary and insights page, when you look at the improvement opportunities or the patterns I talked about, you'll see that there are a lot of bad patterns and which have higher total inefficiency, higher average duration, and standard deviation. So this is the result that I'm going to show you now when I toggle. And you'll also see ping pong and bad patterns are on higher volumes of records in case of a bad survey result as compared to a good survey results. So I'm just going to go back now and move on from here. And so this is what it is. So we mined 9400 bad survey, which has 13 days of average duration. Good survey, we had 73,000, and the results were better, only 6 days of average duration, and same for standard deviation, and median is also better. SLAs, you see that you have from awaiting info, there's an arc going, awaiting acceptance, there's an arc going to SLA breach. So there were breaches, of course, on good survey as well. And it took some 4 days, 7 days to resolve those breaches. And if you were to compare against good and bad, that's where it makes a bit more sense rather than just doing only good surveys. So here we have 5,500 took 7 days, then 2,100. So, but if you look at the percentage, like 5,500 out of 73,000 is a very minuscule percent. But on the bad survey, you see 2,500 out of the 9,400 cases that we mined, it's nearly like close to half of your cases are showing SLA breaches and taking longer after the breach. So this is how it's a better comparison between the volumes. And here it shows you that bad versus good. There's a higher resolution time on the graph here as well. In terms of bad patterns, you can go on the summary and insights page of the bad survey and then sort it by highest total inefficiency. And you see that it has ping ponging, which has 14 years trapped. It has extreme duration, which has 10 years of inefficiencies trapped in it. Average durations are also around 3 weeks or 2 weeks for the bad survey. And if you were to do the same on the good survey results and kind of uh, sorted by the same way, you'll see it's has these inefficiencies, but in terms of the number of records and the total standard deviation is lower, total inefficiency is lower as compared to between good and bad. So sorry that I'm toggling too fast between the two screens, but the analysis does show in my case that for good survey results, you have good patterns. And here is the last, this ping ponging is in the bad survey that we spotted. Too many cases were suspended. They were going in a loop back and forth. And that's something that you might want to avoid in your surveys. So all I'm saying is that if this hypothesis is false in your case, you should be happy about it because you are certainly doing well. People are rating you better, you know. But if it is true, then you need to work on how can we increase customer satisfaction? How can we get better ratings? And that would, of course, be by using process mining and drilling deeper and all those cool features I showed you in the first half of the session, root cause analysis, bottleneck, to go deeper and deeper and kind of coach your teams, have more knowledge articles, maybe use virtual agent, maybe use a RPA automation engine and so on to make the process better for your customer and gun for a better result. Now, before I go into Q&A, guys, I'm just going to cover this housekeeping slide that there are plenty resources out there if you're interested in learning process mining. So first of all, if you Google process mining, ServiceNow Process Mining Academy, you will land on about 30 videos or more where we are covering these use cases like today. I'm doing this one. Then you can go to use case series where there are tons of use cases on how other organizations implement process mining. You could have our Now on Now white paper where we talk about how ServiceNow internally implemented process mining and what did we discover out of it. Of course, there's on-demand training. There is office hours that we have every month. Please make sure that all these resources that are free for you, you leverage them, enhance your learning, and have this community of practice together with us, which we love to host. I'm going to give it off to Damien now because I was not paying attention at all on the questions. So, Damien, what's the summary of questions that you're seeing on the track there?
Yeah, we didn't have a ton. We've only had one that was posted, so please do ask more questions if you have any. There was one really about the free opportunities for patterns, and I just we talked about a little about the content packs that we include in the ServiceNow store for the various use cases like ITSM and CSM HR, and those are meant to be starting points. The finding opportunities can be also added by you as a customer that are specific to your organization and use case. And we can do that very easily, especially as we now have a guided setup for finding opportunities as well, both rule-based and pattern-based. It makes it super simple. So the content packs, while they are absolutely part of their ability to download and use, they're meant to be starting points, right? They're not meant to offer every specific use case and finding opportunity that for every customer. But they do show, as you saw in Roz's demo, that it easily surfaces some very common use cases like reassignment of work more than 2 times, things like that. I also didn't want to share, because Roz did bring up the evaluation project, which started in Xanadu. In Yokohama, we've added more, where we now have 3 different use cases. Process mining is now installed in every instance by default, right? Just to be clear. In Yokohama, we have 3 use cases, one for incident, one for customer case, and one for HR case, which will allow you to analyze the last week's worth of data, up to 3,600 records, and surface some interesting insights on your own data very easily, very quickly. I will say we have a couple of videos about this out there. We'll be adding more for each one of these use cases over the next couple of weeks. Very short 5-minute videos just to show you how you could use these for these use cases. And as Roz mentioned earlier, if in a sub-production, if you want to test there, we have more options to test there beyond these 3 use cases, just like you can for any ServiceNow capability that you may or may not own from a licensing perspective.
Yep. Thanks, Damien. If there are any last minute questions, please bring it on. In the meanwhile, I just want to announce that for next month, we have CSDM with process mining on 17th of April. So do join us. And then for May, because of knowledge, we might not have one, but of course, we'll follow on in June. So make sure that you participate, and as many questions you have, don't hold yourself back. Post it here, and in the time that we have left, we can cover it off.
Another question came in. Go get that. The question, when we pitch customer to look for process mining application, when can we pitch customer to look for a process mining application? In my opinion, it looks like once organization is very mature. So I think the question here is, when can we start using process mining, right? And the answer is, how quickly do you want to start improving, right? So that's a very common ask in questions like, hey, should we wait 6 months, a year before we start process mining or analyzing those processes? And I can say, you can analyze using process mining with just one record. And I've seen customers start using this literally within a month of being onboarded to a use case for process mining, or even less. And why? Well, as soon as you're creating records, we can start iterating on that process very quickly, whether it's an application that is out of the box or even one you've created. This really helps customers, their velocity of improvement within an organization as they either re-platform a use case onto ServiceNow, or sometimes I've seen use cases where they lift and shift an existing older one, but they don't necessarily have the time or the resources to actually go out and reprocess that old platform, that old process. Now with process mining, they could replatform it, maybe make some tweaks, but now we can really within a week or so of driving activity leverage that. So you don't have to wait a year. I would say it's measured in weeks at most. Five. Roz, I'll let you take the one about standard deviation. There's a question about, could you talk more about the difference between the standard deviation, median deviation, perhaps compared to the average duration?
Yes, yeah, sure. So that's a statistical measure. So if you come, especially from Lean Six Sigma background, you know that, your process consistency is measured by standard deviation. So typically it is three sigmas on both sides of the mean, which is your average. So we use that to give you a sense of how strong your process is on the consistency. As compared to that, average duration is just summing up the time taken for the ticket to be closed divided by the number of tickets closed, right? So it's just like a very spread out measure. So it's more effective sometimes for process consistency measurement to use a standard deviation instead. So I think you don't need a class in stats, but you need to know that lower standard deviation is better, and that would help you just navigate through your process inconsistencies.
Yeah, thanks, Roz. Another question about the training that's out there, and there's a comment that it's based on Tokyo. It's been recently updated, so if you haven't seen it recently, it was just updated. I think it was December or early January. It should be on the Xanadu instance. So I would say take another look at it. It has been recently updated. I also see a question about in the chat. So process mining is an additional feature, just to be clear. Again, as I said earlier, we've included it in the production instances for evaluation, but it is part of a platform licensing. I would suggest talking to your account executive or team or support team or account team that supports your organization about different options for you as well. See any other open ones? See another question. So is the question, I believe, can we analyze data that doesn't live within ServiceNow? Can we import data? And the answer is absolutely, right? So that's another great use case. We have a recorded session just on that topic within the Academy as well. And that's a very common use case where you may have external data that is connected to a ServiceNow process. We do this internally at ServiceNow, by the way, for asset reclamation, for HR onboarding, offboarding, where some of these systems of record live outside of ServiceNow. We have the ability of analyzing external data by leveraging technologies like Integration Hub to easily import that data into ServiceNow so you can analyze that process as well. Any other questions? Yeah, thanks, Roman. I appreciate that. Yeah, and I see, a lot of the use cases for external are really around, you can certainly go after and analyze just outside of ServiceNow use cases, but I feel the most value is going to be ones that are connected to ServiceNow use cases, where you can start mapping that multidimensional view, like Raj showed you earlier with task SLA and the case, right? Having that ability to map how an HR case is being impacted by maybe by Workday or something that lives in smart recruiters or some other external record, right? That's really, really impactful. Question based on process analysis. Can you also define what applications are used more or less? Well, remember with process mining, we're going to look at the specific table or tables. We'd have to think about where is that data stored in terms of usage, right? So maybe in that scenario, if you're looking at the software asset table, right, in terms of usage, that might be a use case. So again, what we care about in process mining, how things are progressing from start to finish, right, in some manner. And if there's a life cycle to it, we can analyze it as long as there are audit records or audit logs that pertain to that workflow. So I would say potentially, I haven't seen that use case yet, but that's certainly a possibility. I'm always amazed at the use cases that our customers can come up with in terms of using process mining. So, great question. Certainly, something we can test. I've been working with lots of different teams internally at poking at different use cases, and asset management is certainly one of them that we could go down as well. I think so. I see one more question. I'm not sure if it's more of a comment or a question. I'm not quite sure I understand it. The process. So I think it's a comment. Process chaining session for quality. I'm not quite sure I understand that question.
Yeah, so it's a process chaining session for around, yeah, there's a bit of typo in there actually. But yes, if you want to use process mining for improving the quality of your process, then there are advanced measures, but I think we do quite a bit to help you improve your process quality as well.
Yeah, so a bit of a follow-up on the application use case. So the goal would be to reduce the number of applications based on usage. And again, I'm not an asset expert, but if you think about the life cycle, I'm not sure what we would look at there, but certainly something we could explore.
Yeah, I think both questions have some bits about the round trips and ping-ponging patterns. And if your question is whether we support that, I would say yes. The product does have the ability to show you the round trips, which we call ping pong or multi-hop scenarios. It's just the same word but a different meaning. Sorry, same meaning but different words used for it. And then the question on, I think, to reduce the number of applications, that's a good use case as well for customers because process mining can actually be deployed on any table out of the box or custom table. It makes it very robust in that way. And also the ability to import external data in is just like a cherry on the top then. So you could mine any data set. So there are no constraints or barriers in that regard if you were to implement that use case.
I think that's the last one, Roz.
All right. I think, yeah, we did well. And thank you so much, guys, for your time. And I hope that you've enjoyed these sessions. It helps us quite a bit to learn what your use cases or challenges are so that we can use that to implement process mining and circumvent those challenges for you. So when this video is posted underneath that, if you want to comment or recommend any such use cases you might be interested in, please don't hold back your thoughts and post it there. And we're happy to take it on.
And just a
All
quick
right.
reminder, you can ask questions in the process mining community as well. Roz, myself, and our team, we monitor that all the time and love answering questions and continuing the conversation there as well.
All right. So we close it off then, Damien. What do you say?
Yes, great.
All
Great
right.
job. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. See you soon.
Take care.